Hey everybody, it's your friendly neighborhood Star Wars geek once again, and one of the other things that I thought would be something fun to do would be to shoot a series of videos that were kind of like a product review, but also, depending on the product of course, some kind of a mini instructional video on how to use the product. Like the first video here, the video that you're going to see now isn't really an instructional video because it's just about sandpaper. So, I mean, sandpaper is pretty self-explanatory. But this is a little bit of a different kind of sandpaper, okay? This is something called Sandblaster Pro Ultra Flexible Sanding roll. This is the sanding roll. It's by 3M, and basically, it's like, I mean, it's exactly what it says. You know, it's an ultra flexible sandpaper, but it's not paper. It's actually like a rubbery material on the back, which is really nice because you can fold it. You can fold it over itself. You can manipulate it into almost any kind of shape. And one thing I can tell you about this paper is it lasts forever. I mean, I bought this roll in Lowe's. Like I said, actually it's only at Lowe's, as you can see there. Clog resistant, 15 times longer than regular sandpaper. This is a medium grit, 150 grit. I also have 100 grit. It's also listed as medium. I would put that at more of a coarse. And then I have a 220, which they have listed as fine, which I guess I would still kind of call somewhat medium. And then I had to buy this one in a sheet because they didn't have a roll of this. This is the 320, which is the finest one that they make. I want to say these rolls were about maybe $12 each. But I mean, there's 126 inches of sandpaper in this roll, and so that's over 10 feet. And I mean, this piece here, I've been using this piece for probably about, I don't know, a year, maybe a little less than maybe 10 months. Okay, but I mean, that's, I have basically one piece of each grit that I leave, in my workspace, and I use these just about every day. Anytime you're working with figures, plastic figures, you're working with resin or plastic castings, you're working with any kind of plastics, any kind of models, even for doing, I've wet them and used them as a wet sander to smooth out some paint jobs. Like I said, I mean, this isn't really going to be an instructional video because it's just sandpaper. I mean, if you should know how to use sandpaper. It's pretty self-explanatory, But I don't know if there's many people out there who know about this particular product, and I just wanted to get the word out there because, like I said, for $10 or $12 or whatever it was, you get about 10 feet of this sandpaper. The only thing I wish it came in more different grits. I wish it came in a finer grit than 220. Than 320. I wish I could get the 320 in a roll like this, and I wish that it came in finer grits up to a 500 or a 600. I mean, I've got automotive sandpapers that are a 4,000 grit. So I mean, the grits can go way up there. I mean, you grab a piece of 4,000 grit sandpaper and you rub it on your hands. It just feels like you're rubbing plain paper on your hands, but it does work. It does do the job, even though the grit is so fine that you can barely feel it. But something like this is definitely a worthy investment, I think. If you're like me, I used to go through sandpaper. I like sanding pads better than sanding paper. Until I started using this stuff, because like I said, this here, you can fold it over itself numerous times, and it gets a thickness to it, and because it's so flexible, I mean, if I took a piece of sandpaper, which I still have, I do still have sandpaper. This is actually the same kind of paper. If you look on there, this is a Sandblaster Pro, but it's not the exact same. But I mean, if I take this sandpaper and I fold it, you know, I mean, now it's got a fold in it. You know what I'm saying? It's paper. Okay? If I take this and I fold it, and I fold it again, and I fold it again, and I fold it again, you know, now it almost feels like a sanding pad in my hands because there's thickness to it, and I can use it on whatever I need to use it on, and then it unfolds. You know, it doesn't stay folded. It's got this, like I said, it's got an ultra flexible rubber backing to it, which is really fantastic. If you have sanding blocks, I know I have some sanding blocks around here somewhere, you can, you know, put this around the sanding block as well and form it. You know, it'll form to a circular sanding block like a tube. It'll form up to a square sanding block or a rectangular sanding block. It'll form over just about anything. And I mean, I guess technically 100, 150, 220, 320, you probably have just about, you know, the grits that you're going to need to do most of your work. Like I said, I've got sandpaper that goes up to 4,000 grits rather. But sometimes it just seems kind of silly because, like I said, you can touch it and you don't even feel like you're touching anything. You know, I mean, you can still feel the grit on the 320, but even that is extremely, extremely smooth. You know. So anyway, only available at Lowe's, at least at the time I purchased this, which I said it was about a year ago. So it might be available other places now, but I would definitely take a look at it, check it out. You know, I mean, anybody who does any kind of modeling work, custom figures, wargaming miniatures, plastic model kits, military kits, garage kits, you're going to need sandpaper. You're going to use sandpaper. And this sandpaper is definitely going to last a lot longer than your standard sandpaper is. And like I said, the fact that it's so flexible, it can adapt to any shape, any form. I mean, you could even take it, wrap it around the tip of a paintbrush like this. You know, and now you've got, I mean, this paintbrush was a little big, but I mean, you've got, you know, a small, like a sanding stick that you need to get into a small space. And then, like I said, once you're done, it unfolds and it goes back to its, you know, original shape and size. It doesn't stay folded like a regular piece of sandpaper will. You know, I mean, this, I couldn't get this piece of sandpaper to really, you know, I mean, it's not going to really conform to the edge of this brush for me to use it like a sanding stick like that, you know. But this will, you know. So again, only available at Lowe's. Check it out. Sandblaster Pro by 3M. It comes in rolls. I think they were $10 or $12, and then it also comes in sheets like this. If you don't want to buy an entire roll of it, you could just buy a sheet. It's actually 2 sheets on here. Well, they call it 4 sheets, where each sheet is 7 inches by 4.5 inches. But excuse me. But it's really 2 sheets, and then you just kind of like, you know, you rip it. It's perforated, so you can tear it in half, and that's, you know, 1 sheet, and this is the second sheet. But like I said, I don't remember how much this one was. I want to say this was maybe $3 or $4, which is another reason why I just decided to buy the larger rolls, because cost-wise, it just seemed like a better deal to buy the whole roll. I mean, if I bought these sheets in every grit, it would cost me almost as much as buying the rolls in every grit. I mean, this is $4 for 4 sheets, or $10 or $12 for 10 feet. So, but definitely check it out if you need sandpaper, or I mean, next time you need to buy some sandpaper, take a look at the 3M Sandblaster Pro Ultra Flexible Sanding Sheets. Only available at Lowe's, but you know, a little bit more expensive than your average sandpaper, but definitely worth it. So check it out next time you need some sandpaper.